And let me share the screen. Okay, so here we go with the weighted average cost of capital. And you could read what's on the screen there. But what is the weighted average cost of capital? That's the borrowing rate for the company. So the company is going to be a combination of long-term debt and common equity. And the company basically is borrowing money. The weighted average cost of capital is the interest rate or the cost of borrowing. So if we come up with a number, let's say equal to 10%, then that means that this company is borrowing money at 10%. So why is that important? Because if the company is borrowing at 10%, that means that projects have to return greater than 10% for the company to make, for it to make sense for the company to borrow money. The company isn't going to borrow money at 10% and only get a 7% rate of return. The company is losing money in that case. It's better not to borrow. Now, what if a project is earning 12%? Then that makes sense, right? You would borrow at 10% to get a 12% rate of return. So the weighted average cost of capital is important because it's going to be the borrowing rate for the company. It's commonly called a hurdle rate too. The company has to get a rate of return greater than the weighted average cost of capital for a project. Otherwise, don't do the project. You're not going to borrow money at 10% and only get a 7% rate of return on your money, on your project.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This WACC like is the company borrowing the money,
Yeah.
right? And to calculate it for like the companies how it working.
Yeah.
And yes, and like now, not like almost all the company is like doing like how to say multiple in the industry. Like they not only making car but also like doing something other.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the company may have multiple businesses, cars, airplanes, boats. So each of the big division, especially if the company is really big, they're going to have a WACC for the car company. They'll have a WACC for the airline company. They'll have a WACC for the boat company. Each of them will have its own WACC.
Also, like WACC is not only working to the company, but also like working to the like each department.
Each division, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but for our purposes, just to make it simple, let's just assume that it's just one company. There's only one WACC.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about different WACC. Okay, so right here then, you see the formula to calculate the WACC. All right, and E is equal to the equity, D is equal to the debt. RE is the return on common equity. RD is the cost of debt. 1 minus T is the tax rate. All right, so right here, you see this portion here, plus this portion here, it has to add up to 100%. This is going to give you a percentage. This is going to give you a percentage. This plus this has to add up to 100%. So let's just do this then. So let's say for, you can see I have a lot of formulas there. But let's say that we have for this company, you have E, and then we have D. Okay, and I'm just making up these numbers. But let's say that E, equity is 70 million. Let's do different numbers. Let's say it's 35 million. Okay, and D is 15 million. We'll make these, we'll put dollar signs on it to make sure. Okay, so how much total did the company borrow? So this is D plus E. So the 35 plus the 15, 50 million. Okay, and this percentage, 35%. So I'm going to do, I'm sorry, 35 million divided by 50 million.
70%.
70%. And this one's going to be equal to
30%.
30%. So sometimes that's given to you. Sometimes that's given to you. Okay, and you'll see this abbreviated as WE, the weight of equity. What percentage of 50 is equity? And this will be the weight of debt. So the 70 plus the 30 is equal to 100%. So of your borrowing, 70% is coming from common equity. The debt, 30% is coming from debt. This has to add up to 100%. So same thing here. Same thing here. We'll look at these calculations here. All right. And so you see that for this company, a little bit blurry here, the equity is, well, that's a funny number there. Looks like that's 330,000. This one is 50,000. So in total, basically this company borrowed 380,000. The equity is equal to 87% of this total. The debt is equal to 13% of the total. So the 87% plus the 13% is equal to 100%. These two numbers are given to you. These are given. All right. You can use the capital asset pricing model to forecast this. This is after tax because you could see up here your debt. You're going to go out there and because your debt, you can deduct it for tax purposes. Looks like we have a 50% debt rate. So your after tax cost of debt is 7.2, cost of debt is 3.5. Equity is 7.27. How do we get these numbers? This 8.87 times 0.0727 is 6.32. 0.13 times 3.5% is 0.46. The weighted average cost of capital is 6.78%. 6.78%. Let's do the calculation. So this is going to be equal to 0.87.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The 0.13 times 3.5 shouldn't be 6. I think the last number should be 5.
Is that right? Let's see. So, okay, and then plus 0.13 times 3.5. So it looks like it's working out okay.
Hmm.
This
Hmm.
times this is 0.46.
I understand.
Maybe you're rounding too much,
Yes, yes.
okay? And then you'll round this up to 6.78%. Okay, and then right here, it looks like the number got cut off here. So what should this one be? So this is going to 40%. So this is going to be equal to 0.4
Hmm.
times 8%. And then times 1 minus the tax rate. And then plus 60%. You can see where I'm getting the 60% from, right?
Hmm.
All of this is going to come out to 60%. So if we work this out then, for this company, this looks way off here. I don't know what happened. But for this company, the weighted average cost of capital is 9.44%. So for this company then, the projects must return not greater than 9.44%. Otherwise, that project is no good for this company. Right here, I don't know what this is. Something's wrong here. But right here then, the weighted average cost of capital should be 9.44%. Okay, so here's another weighted average cost of capital. All right. And Heidi, this might be the formula you're looking for right here.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay, so that's going to be the cost of equity times the weight of equity plus the cost of preferred stock times the weight of preferred stock. And then over here, cost of debt times 1 minus the tax rate times the weight of debt.
Hmm.
WE plus WP plus WD must be equal to 100%. WE plus WP plus WD must be equal to 100%.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Also, you see here, for the cost of debt, we have to adjust out for the taxes, 1 minus T. You only do the 1 minus T for debt. You don't do 1 minus T for preferred stock. You don't do 1 minus T for common stock or common equity. You only do the 1 minus T for debt because the company can deduct interest expense on its debt. So they can make a tax adjustment. Here,
Hmm.
no tax write-off, no tax adjustment.
Oh.
So I think this is the formula you were asking for.
Okay.
Okay. And this cost of common equity, what did we use in the past? The capital asset pricing model. You can use the capital asset pricing model to calculate your cost of equity.
Oh.
Okay, so any questions?
Okay. No.
Okay, so let's go
Yes.
out here then and let's try this problem. Let's try this problem here. So I'm just giving this to you, and let me just put here. Capital asset pricing model, 15%. We use the capital asset pricing model to find this 15%. The cost of preferred stock just given to us at 12%, the cost of debt, 8%. We'll see how we'll calculate this later in this class. Equity is 50% of the balance sheet. Preferred stock is 10% of the balance sheet. Debt is 40% of the balance sheet. You can see all these are just given to us. However, this plus this plus this plus this must be equal to 100%. And we see that it's true. 50% plus 10% plus 40%. Okay? And the tax rate here is given to us at 35%. All right? So here we go. The weighted average cost of capital is equal to, so let's do the common equity first. So that's going to be equal to 15%
times 50%.
Good. %, times 10%. And then 8%
times 1 minus 35%.
Excellent. Good job. And then times 40%. Let me leave that up there for a second to give you a chance to write that down. And then, you know, of course, I'll save this spreadsheet. I'll save this spreadsheet so you can always go back into this spreadsheet and determine how we got those numbers. Did I go too fast or? So when we do this calculation, we come up with 10.78%. That's the weighted average cost of capital.
Okay.
That's the borrowing rate for the whole corporation. The projects must return greater than 10.78%. Otherwise, the project's not worth it. If you have a project that returns 9%, no, you're not going to borrow at 10.78% to only get 9%. You're losing money there. But if the project returns 15%, that makes sense, right? Because you're borrowing at 10.78%, the project returns 15%. That's good. That's good. You'll borrow at 10.78% to get a 15% rate of return. Okay, and again, this formula here is this one right here. So I think you were asking at the very beginning, where's the formula for the weighted average cost of capital?
Mm.
Here it is right here.
Ah, okay.
Okay, and let me just put one other thing here. So WE plus weight of preferred plus weight of debt is equal to 100%. Has to be equal to 100%. Otherwise, you did something wrong. So let's put that up there. This must hold true. Okay, so any questions?
Not now. No question now.
Okay, yeah. Here's another one with the formula. And here's one. On this one, okay, on this one, there's no preferred stock. There's only debt and equity. There's only debt and equity. Okay?
Mm.
But on this one, this is the more complete formula. So on your homework, you have to use this. You have to use this formula that has everything: the equity, the preferred stock, and the debt.
Oh, okay.
This is the more complete formula. A lot of companies don't have preferred stock. So all of this is going to be equal to 0. But if you are given preferred stock, then you have to use this formula. And this must be true. This must hold true. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'm going to stop recording.